Srila Prabhupada. We are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 8, text 45. 45 is on the board. Very good. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirayat Nastabheshya Bhatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevyam Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. So, let's repeat. Tvaya Sopanisad Pischa. Tvaya Sopanisad Pischa. Tvaya Sopanisad Pischa. Sankhya Yoga Satpatai. Upahiyamana Mahatmyam. Arim Samanyatamajam. Tvaya Supanishabhischa. Sankhya Yoga Satpatai. Upahiyamana Mahatmyam. Arim Samanyatatmajam. Tvaya Supanishadibhischa. Sankhya Yoga Satpatai. Upahiyamana Mahatmyam. Arim Samanyatatmajam. Tvaya Sapanishabhischa. Sankhya Yoga Satpatai. Upahiyamana Mahatmyam. Arim Samanyatatmajam. Tvaya Sapanishabhischa. Sankhya Yoga Satpatai. Upahiyamana Mahatmyam. Arim Samanyatatmajam. Ladies. Tvaya Sapanishabhischa. Sankhya Yoga Satpatai. Upahiyamana Mahatmyam. Arim Samanyatatmajam. But for word translation. Tvaya. Oh, sorry. Traya by studying the three Vedas, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva. Cha also, Upanishadbihi cha, Upanishadbihi cha. And by studying the Vedic knowledge of the Upanishads, Sankhya Yoga, by reading the literature of Sankhya Yoga, Cha, Satpatai, by the great sages and devotees, or by reading Vaishnava Tantra, Pancharatnas, Upahi, yeah. By the great sages and devotees, Upahiyamana Mahatmyam, whose glories are worshipped by all these Vedic literatures. Harim, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sa, she, Amanyata, considered, ordinary, Atmajam, as her own son. Translation and purport by Hisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet Mother Yasoda considered that Supreme Person an ordinary child. Purport. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15 by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the purpose of studying the Vedas is to understand Him. Padasya Sarvam Eva Vidya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami that there are three purposes in the Vedas. One is to understand our relationship with Krishna, Sambandha. Another is to act according to that relationship, Abhideya. And the third is to reach the ultimate goal, Prayojan. The word Prayojan means necessities. And the ultimate necessity is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prema Punakta Mahan. The greatest necessity for a human being is achievement of love of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here we see that Mother Yasoda is on the highest stage of necessity, for she is completely absorbed in love of Krishna. In the beginning, the Vedic purpose is pursued in three ways, Trayi, by Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Upasana Kanda. When one reaches the complete perfect stage of Upasana Kanda, one comes to worship Narayan or Lord Vishnu. When Parvati asked Lord Mahadev, Lord Shiva, what is the best method of Upasana or worship? Lord Shiva said, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradham Param. Vishnu Pasan or Vishnu Aradhana, worship of Lord Vishnu is the highest stage of perfection. That highest stage of perfection is the highest stage of perfection as realized by Devaki. But here Mother Yasoda performed no upasana, for she has developed transcendental ecstatic love for Krishna. Therefore, her position is better than that of Devaki. In order to show this, Srila Vyasadeva enunciates this verse, Traya Supanishad, etc. When a human being enters into the study of the Vedas to obtain Vidya, knowledge, he begins to take part in human civilization. Then he advances further to study the Upanishads and gain Brahmagyan, impersonal realization of the absolute truth. And then he advances still further to Sankhya Yoga in order to understand the Supreme Controller, who is indicated in Bhagavad Gita. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paranam Bhavam, Purusham Sasvatam, Purusham Sasvatam. When one understands the Purusha, the Supreme Controller, to be the Paramatma, one is engaged in the method of yoga. Jnana vastita tathatena manasa pasantiyam yogina. But Mother Yasoda has surpassed all these stages. She has come to the platform of loving Krishna as her beloved child, and therefore she is accepted to be on the highest stage of spiritual realization. The absolute truth is realized in three features: Brahmeti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavan iti sapyate. But she is in such ecstasy that she does not care to understand what is Brahman, what is Paramatma, or what is Bhagavan. Bhagavan has personally descended to become her beloved child. Therefore, there is no comparison to Mother Yasoda's good fortune as declared by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Ramya Kashitu Pashana Vracha Vaudu Vargena Ya Kalpita. The absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may be realized in different stages. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Yeyatamam Pabachante Tamstadev Vajamyaham, Mama Vartmane Vartante Manusha Parta Sarvasa. As men surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Preta. One may be a karmi, a yogi, a jnani, a yogi, and then a bhakta or prema bhakta. But the ultimate stage of realization is prema bhakti, as actually demonstrated by Mother Yasoda. I read the verse again. Vayasopani sabischa sankhya yoga sasatvatai upahiyamana mahatyam arimsamam yatatmatyam. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet Mother Yasoda considered that Supreme Person her ordinary child. Maybe we can lower that a bit. It's not necessary to be so loud. Om Ajnana Timandasya Chanshala Sanakya Saksharamilitam Yena Tasmai Shidorve Namah Chitchetayamanovistam Staptam Yena Bhuttaleshkam Rapakadamayam Dadati Smam Padantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padakamanam Shiyum Vaishnavamsha Shri Upam Jagajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parjanastaitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagalita Shivishakam Vitam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandhu Jatpate Kopesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavani Satadevi Pranamama Kripi Vankha Kalptrubhisha Kripa Sindhuvisha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani. Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Paskachai Pisatarani. Srila Prabhupada Ki. There are extensive purports by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, by Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. I will read some of these purports. It would be 2 long to read them all, but purport by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This verse shows how Mother Yasoda's maternal love being unrestricted in spite of seeing Krishna's powers and hearing about the Lord's powers from scriptures was superior to that of Devaki. The Lord is praised by the three Vedas as the Jahya Purush. In Sankhya, he is glorified as the Purush, in Yoga as the Paramatma, and in the Pancharatma, Sattvata as Bhagavan. Without regard for place of time, Mother Yasoda regarded the powerful Lord who is glorified directly and indirectly in the scriptures as her son. By the power of my family deity, by the mercy of Narayan, who has been satisfied with vrata and worship executed by Nanda and myself, and who has been satisfied with many austerities of Parjanya, I've been given this son, who the karmas glorify as the absolute truth propounded in the scriptures. This is because of the statement of Gargamuni that he is equal in quality to Narayan, and the stories of his killing Bhutan and other demons. So the karmas think that he's Narayan, but actually he's just my child. If he does not see me for a moment, he becomes disturbed. And I also, being separated from him a moment, become disturbed. Our experience is our proof. In this way, Mother Yasoda concluded about Krishna. So it's just my son, he thinks. Just as karmis think of the Lord as Jahya Purush according to the Vedas, so Yasoda thought of the Lord as her son to Vatsalya Prema. Just as he gives result according to the worship of karmis and others, so to Yasoda's maternal affection, he responded. But as he could not respond fully to the amount of affection offered by Yasoda, being a debtor, he was content to remain under her mercy and control and cry for her milk. This will become clear in later chapters. One should take this verse as a Paribhasa Sutra of Krishna Lila, Vishwanath says. As a lamp from one place in a dark room lights up the whole room. So the statement in the scriptures which can reveal the meaning of all scriptures or regulates the meaning of the scriptures is called a paribhas. This verse remains a regulator of the pastimes related to Aishvarya during his Kaumara and Kashura ages in Mathura, Kurukshetra, and elsewhere. That, yeah. There are much more purports, Shiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. But in the purport of Srila Prabhupada, he says, Yeya Tama Papachate Tam Stateva Pachamyam, that everyone surrenders unto me according. I reciprocate with the surrender of everyone. That and everyone is on my path. Mama Vartmano, yeah. Everyone is on my path. So this verse is many times misunderstood, thinking I can do what I want, I'm on the path. But this is explained in Bhagavad Gita. That and Prabhupada explained it in the purport here, that the Vedas explains three things. And what's the purpose of these three things is to know Krishna. So she has no idea that internet is unstable here, goes up on and off. That, but yes, she doesn't know about Sankhya Yoga, about the Ashtanga Yoga. No idea of these things. That please, yeah. She is the original mother of Krishna. Yeah. And Devaki is an expansion of Yasoda. That Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna has only one father and mother in Golok Vrindavan. That's Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. That and these are original mothers, and they are in parental love of Vaikuntha, of Golok. In Golok, and that is what we see here. She sees Krishna as her son. That she say, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, some say that Akaramuni has said by the name-giving ceremony is equal like Narayan, and therefore Mother Yasoda concludes, yes, therefore something is he's Narayan, he's God. But he's my son because he's depending on me. That so that's she's so absorbed in love, parental love. But you have the Vaikunthas, like in Vaikuntha, you have Devaki and Vasudeva, which are expansions, Vaikuntha expansions from the original Yasoda and Devaki, Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. And they are in awe and reference. So that's the difference. Devaki and Vasudeva, they know he's Narayan. Because in the prison, when Krishna appeared before them, he was fully dressed as Narayan with 4 arms appeared. And then later, on request of Devaki, he took the form of a child. So they knew. That's a difference. But the love of Devaki and Vasudeva is not so intense as the love of Mother Yasoda, because their love for Krishna, parental love, is disturbed by the idea that he is God. And that brings them in awe and reverence. And therefore, when you are in awe and reverence for God, you cannot say he's your son. And that interferes with their love of Devaki and Vasudeva. Therefore, the love of Mother Yasoda is of a superior nature. And that is explained here. She has attained this prayojan, that, and not only just love for Krishna, but the highest possible parental love. And that makes a difference. Is also the mother of God. No, one must understand what an expansion is. Expansion means equal potency. But one is the original, And the other is the expansion. So they are also Krishna's parents, but the original parents are Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. That Nanda, that is expansion. This is explained also Krishna has his expansion. That from Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Vasudev, Sankirtan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, which are Vaikuntha expansion. So it's a whole science. So after studying that science, that which takes many, many days to understand just, you can understand what's happening. That this is not so simple to understand. That we must understand what an expansion is, what it's Vishnu Tattva, what is on the level of God, and what is on the level of the Jiva, the living entities. That, but anyway, this is a too much advanced topic. I try to explain the ABC, which is explained in this verse, factually. That Mother Yasoda has reached the goal. But there are processes to attain that goal. And that these processes are explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first 9 cantos, and especially, and in the Bhagavad Gita. But we are here at the goal already, the 10th canto. One can understand only something from the 10th canto when one has been purified after a process of 20, 30 years, going through these processes. But here is explained that Mother Yasoda has nothing to do with these processes. She's beyond. She doesn't know about Sankhya Yoga or Astanga Yoga. So the processes explained here are explained in Bhagavad Gita. But to understand these processes, you must understand that they are stairs to attaining the perfection. Stairs. They are all on the path, but they have intermediate goals, which are not the ultimate goal. And that's the problem. Because it's explained in the Vedas, in the Bhagavatam, Vedanta tat tatvavishas tatvam jnanam advayam prameti paramatmiti bhagavan iti sapyate. The Vedantist has concluded that the absolute truth has 3 phases: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And they are all 3 the absolute truth. But the features of all the features, characteristics of the absolute truth are only realized in the Bhagavan features. Because Bhagavan is Krishna, and Krishna is the source of Paramatma. Krishna is in the heart of everyone. It's all pervading at the same time. And he is the source of Brahman, the spiritual energy. So some have the mistaken idea that the absolute truth is only energy. And they are called jnanis. And they want to become liberated. They want to become liberated from the material entanglement, from the suffering of going to the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. And therefore, they are studying Sankhya, that what is matter, what is spirit. And they renounce themselves from matter, get rid of all the desires that attracts them to matter. And finally, they become peaceful without desires and merge into Brahman. So this process is called Jnana Yoga and has three qualities: that they want to renounce everything, they want to develop knowledge of what is spirit and what is matter, knowledge and renunciation. Knowledge, renunciation, but no activity anymore. They want to give up all activity. But that's not natural for the spirit soul. The spirit soul is by nature active. It's active while it's in the body. Prabhupada writes. So when it's out of the body, then not active anymore. So that's Jnana Yoga. And Jnana Yoga is also called Sankhya Yoga, or the study of the difference between matter and spirit. And Krishna speaks about that in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, one of the first verses. Yeah, he says, yeah. Of course, this is Sankhya, that if you search for the origin of everything, you come to the conclusion the origin must be spiritual. But what's the origin of the spiritual energy? Therefore, Sankhya Yoga means trying to find out the origin of everything, the root. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5:4, Sankhya Yoga Pritak Bala Prabhavanti Napandita Ekamapyastita Samyak Ubeorpindate Phalam. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, of devotional service. Karma yoga is in its highest perfection, devotional service, or it's also called in Bhagavad Gita Buddhi Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga. It's all the same. That only the ignorant speak of devotional service as being different from the analytical study of the world. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself to one of these paths achieves the results of both. And in the next verse, Lord Krishna explains this further. Yat Sankhya Papadestanam Tatyogher Apigamyate Ekasamsa Sankyam Sayogamsa Yapasatsa Pashati. One who knows that the position is reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and would therefore sees that Sankhya or analytical study and Bhakti or devotional service are the same, sees things as they are. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, in the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in devotional service, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Both processes are the same, although superficially one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. Detachment for matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. So one can see things as they are. So Prabhupada says two things in this purport. One thing is that the Sankhya Jnanis, they are trying to find the root of everything. And the devotees, they know already what's the root, but what's the conclusion? What's the root of everything? It's Krishna. Vedasa Sarvayama Ivavedya. Krishna says himself, that is what to be known in the Vedas, Krishna, because he's the root of everything. And so the Sankhya yogis, they try to find the root, but the devotees know what's the root, and they are watering the root. That's the difference. But the process of Sankhya Yoga has only these two qualities, knowledge and renunciation. But after many lifetimes, this Sankhya, these Jnanis who study Vedanta and try to understand the difference between matter and spirit, they come to the point, then yes, I realize I'm not this body, I'm spirit. It's good. But what then? You remain in this world, even with this knowledge. Then they want to know, after many, many births, it says, that they want to know how to experience the bliss of being a soul. And then they go to the next stage. They have realized I'm Brahman realization. But then they go to the next stage. They become yogis, hatha yogis, that Astanga yoga, eightfold path of yoga, yam, niyam, ashan, pratyahara, and dharan, dhyan, samadhi, the 8 stages. They want to experience. And this Astanga yoga has factually 3 qualities. It has knowledge. One must have knowledge of the difference between matter and spirit. If you don't know you are a soul, you cannot start practicing yoga. That has no sense. That's false. Because the goal of yoga is to realize Paramatma in the heart, yourself in the heart, and also the super soul. Krishna's second aspects of the absolute, the Paramatma. That's the goal of the yogis. Krishna says that in 6.5. Chitatmana prasantatsma Paramatma samaita. The purpose of yoga is to conquer the mind. And when you have conquered the mind and the mind is peaceful, you find Paramatma, Krishna in the heart, the super soul. That's the purpose of yoga. And this yoga has 3 qualities. Knowledge, one must renounce everything. Otherwise, one cannot fix one's mind on the absolute truth, on Krishna in the heart. And then, of course, renunciation, and then meditation. 3 qualities. Renunciation, knowledge, and meditation. And at the end, if they get success after many births, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaunam Jnanamam Ante Vasdeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudurlabha, Samatma Sudurlabhaya, Vasdeva Sarvamiti Samatma Sudurlabha. Bhaunam Jnanavan Ante, Jnanavan Mam Pabachate. After many, many births, these Jnanis and yogis, they come to the point of realizing that Krishna is all-pervading. He's in everyone's heart, in every cell. They come to that realization. But then they understand that the source of this Paramatma is Krishna. It's nice, the yogis realize Paramatma. And what happens then? Nothing. They stay in the material world, that's all. They don't get out. To get out of the material world, you must, because to get out, to get liberation first, Brahman realization is liberation. You must have realized that you are not this body. That is the realization of Brahma Bhuta. Brahmabhuta Prashanatmana Shustina Kangshati. That so Krishna explains it in Bhagavad Gita in the conclusion. Says you have no Krishna at the end of the 18th chapter. It says, I'm going to tell you now, Arjuna, confidential knowledge, and then more confidential knowledge, and then most confidential knowledge. So what is the confidential knowledge? It's Brahma Bhuta Prashanatma Nashosni Nakangsni Samsavesha Bhutishu Matbhaktam Labhate Param. That's a confidential knowledge. You can attain the spiritual platform when you are peaceful and you don't lament anymore and don't hanker anymore. That is the goal of the Jnanis, first level. But then from there one must go to the next level, and Krishna says, then I'm explaining to you more confidential knowledge. And what is this more confidential knowledge? 1861. Ishvara sarva bhutanam riti sayuna tistani pramyam sama bhutanam yanti udani maya. Krishna says, I'm seated in everyone's heart, and I'm conducting the wanderings of all living entities. That who are living entities, the souls who are seated in a machine made of material energy. So if we realize that, then we realize, yes, Paramatma is in our heart. He makes our heart beat. He makes our digestion going. And Krishna says, Avasyam Redisham Vishnamatashmiti Jnanam Apamsa. I'm sitting in everyone's heart, and for me comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Whatever you remember and whatever you forget, it's for him. It's due to him. Krishna says in 327, a verse very difficult to understand for the conditioned soul. Praktika yamane gunakarmana savsa ankara vimutatma kartim iti manyate. Krishna says, everything is done in this world by the modes of material nature. But those who are fools, mudas, they think they are the doer. But everything is done by material nature. And Krishna says, Mayadakshana Prakati, I'm controlling, I'm the superintendent of this material nature as a super soul. So I'm moving my hand, but I'm not moving in my hand. The super soul is moving the hand. I desire as a soul to move the hand, but I'm befooled. I think, oh, I'm desiring to move my hand and it goes. So I think I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it. And that's divine consciousness explained in Bhagavad Gita in the beginning of the 5th chapter. This knowledge, we hear that so many times, but then we go out of the class and then we act as we are the doer. We know it. We are going to powerful. Krishna says, divine consciousness, someone who sees the reality in this world. Naiva kinchit karomiti yatyamayet tattvait pasanspyans pisamshihan asnankasans papampasam palapam vichnam hinam unmisam nimisamapi indiachtisu patreti daryan. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he's aloof from them. This is very deep knowledge and very difficult to understand for us in this material world. But when you become Krishna conscious, you start to see what's happening. Your false ego is going. Gradually you start to understand. But this knowledge is always only to bring us to the final point, that the most confidential knowledge And Krishna says, Man manabhav madbhakto mati mam namaskar mama vaishya satyam te pradsyoni prayosime. Think of me and become my devotee. Develop devotion. Devotion is a higher knowledge, which brings you back to the spiritual mode, beyond this material realm, beyond liberation. And unless we come to that platform, all the lower stages are just to get there. But Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita, Sarvam Prichya Mam Kam Samsa Am Sam Sarvapabhya Moksha. Give up all this jnana yoga, this Sastanya yoga, come immediately to Bhakti yoga, which says, because to go back to the spiritual world, you need to practice a yoga which has 5 qualities, which are correspond to the qualities of the soul. And these 5 qualities are, Bhakti yoga is an activity. We must be, the spirit soul is active always. Bhakti yoga means one is renounced, because one is attached to Krishna. One becomes attached to Krishna, it's automatically detached from this world. And one has knowledge, and complete knowledge, not only of Brahman, how to get liberation, of Paramatma, Krishna in this world, no, of Bhagavan, which is the source. That's full knowledge. And then one meditates on Krishna, the 4th quality. Bhakti yoga is always meditating on Krishna. And then you have the 5th quality is devotion, love, practically love, spiritual love. And that spiritual love, we need to enter Vaikuntha of Goloka Vrindavan. As long as we do not develop this love, we stay in this material world rotting. And here Mother Yasoda, she is on that highest platform. She doesn't need all these yogas to come liberated. She's liberated eternally. She's coming from the spiritual world. She's on the highest platform of love. And that love is more intense than the love of Mother Devaki. We see even when Devaki, and that's interesting, this is in the 8th chapter of the 1st canto, prayers of Queen Kunti. So Queen Kunti prays the Lord Krishna after the battle of Kurukshetra is going to leave. And she said to Krishna, yes, you have saved me from so many calamities. You have saved me and the Pandavas of being burnt in a house of black, of being poisoned by cake. You have protected us against man-eaters. And Queen Kunti says to Krishna, yeah, that's the nectar of devotion. Krishna, I prayed to you before the battle of Kurukshetra to save my sons, the Pandavas. And you promised me that they all would be saved. And now the battle is over, and you have kept your word. You have kept your word. So Krishna keeps always his word to his devotees. He's the most reliable, is truthful. When he promises, he does it. Krishna, Queen Kunti said, Krishna, you saved me so many times, but you did not give the same mercy to Devaki and Vasudeva. Their first sons were slaughtered by Kamsa, killed before their eyes. One can say why Devaki and Vasudeva then had one child after another. If they knew, they would be killed, because they knew the eighth child would be Krishna, and they wanted to get it quick as possible. So they knew that, but Queen Kunti was considering, you didn't give that mercy to Devaki, our children were killed, my children were protected. But what's the reason? Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, and that is interesting. He explains in the purport that Devaki had her husband, but Kunti Devi has lost her husband. She had no one to take shelter of. She was helpless, and she's completely surrendered to Krishna. And therefore, Krishna always protected her. What does it mean for us? That it means we have to come out of our comfort zone. It's for Queen Kunti, it was not a nice situation to be always alone and against all these inimical kings who want to kill her sons. So she took always shelter of Krishna. She came out of the comfort zone. That we see that also, yes. That Krishna reciprocates with us. If we feel helpless, but if we think, I know everything, I've no faith in what Krishna is saying, then Krishna will not reciprocate. He say, okay, you think you can do it on your own? You try it. That's what we are trying for many lifetimes. But coming out of your comfort zone means not that Krishna consciousness becomes suffering. No, Queen Kunti felt always, she prays, yeah, let all these calamities come again and again. Because then I think of you and feel this ecstatic love. Because she has this love for Krishna. Our Acharya says, because in Prema there are 7 stages. Sneha, Mana, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, and Mabhav. And she was, our Acharya, she was on the stage of Anuraga, very attached to Krishna. Anyway, don't imitate Queen Kunti. You don't have to pray for calamities in Kali Yuga. They come on his own accord. You think you are in a comfort zone, okay, everything goes nice. Maya will not let you in the comfort zone and throw you out. A relative will die or something happened. No, it's Maya, the comfort zone. We must always be firmly engaged in Krishna's service. And then we become Krishna conscious and become purified, develop this love, which is shown here by Mother Yasoda. And this love, this bhakti, this devotion is the only way to go to enter the spiritual world. That you must develop this love. And loving Krishna means also loving his devotees. So it begins with our relationship with each other. And it's There is a learning curve that, yes. Yeah, that, well, the question is, does he do that to everyone that putting us in these miseries or whatever? That it's this explained in verse Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, chapter 88, verse 8. That I will get it on my screen here. That this verse explains when Krishna gives his mercy. That it's a very nice verse, 10:88. 8. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Yasyam Anukrinami Arishi Tatanam Sanai Tautudam Triantyasya Svachana Dukha Dukhidam. The personality of Godhead said, I especially favor someone, explaining when Krishna is giving his mercy. I greatly deprive him of his wealth. Then the relatives and friends of such poverty-stricken men abandon him. In this way, he suffers one distress after another. So it's like I explained many times, it's like as devotees, we want to detach us from this material world, but it's very difficult. Yeah, we are too much attached, it's very difficult to give up. That so it's like we are embracing a tree. You are embracing the tree, and you say, let me go, let me go, let me go. But then the spiritual master, a sage, comes and said, oh, but it's you who are holding on to the tree. Just let it go, your attachment. But it's so difficult. And Krishna knows that if we want to progress in devotional service, really we are sincere and we pray to Krishna, help us, then Krishna sometimes it takes everything away what we are attached to. It's like a child. A child is playing with toys, and his mother said, you have to come to eat. And the mother has already said it 2 times. And the 3rd time the mother comes, takes the toy away and the child is crying. So it's the same thing. We are too much attached, and then Krishna helps us by taking everything away. And it happened also to me. It takes it away. But just a moment, we can ask the question if at the end of my story, I'm just in the introduction of explaining this. So yes, but the question is, must we all go that way of big suffering? And then Srila Prabhupada says there are 3 ways of learning. The first way is, I'm hearing that stealing is bad. Okay, I'm not going to do it. The second way is, someone hears stealing is bad, but then he sees someone, but he has still this tendency to steal. But then he sees that someone is arrested for theft, and said, okay, I will not do it. The second class learning. And the third class learning is, one sees someone is arrested, but is still the inclination to steal. That, okay. Unless he's arrested himself, he will not learn. That's the third class. learning. It's up to us. We can go the hard way of learning, that's the hard way, or we can go the more easy way. And the more easy way is what we are doing now. Every day hearing this Bhagavatam, if you do that for 20, 30 years, it's all gone from your heart. You are not attached anymore to anything. If you are following verse by verse the whole Bhagavatam, your heart will change just by hearing this transcendental knowledge and becoming attached to Krishna. Yes?
Yes, you said we have to move from our attachment. But do you think that Krishna for most people who are dreaming?
For more people, say again? Can we have what? I don't understand. The rêve. Ja, nous avons tous des rêves. De rêve américain. Mais, yeah. Well, when you have dreams to travel all over the world, for whose pleasure is that? For the body and for the mind. Soon you die, there is no body anymore. So you give pleasure to the body your own life. And yes, that means, and you may have liked it. Good. Then Krishna at the time of death said, okay, you liked it. I will give you another body, a fresh body, and you can do again. No problem. But you stay in this world. But the process is to get rid of these desires. But these desires are our natural inclinations in this world. That we have all likes and dislikes, and we are good in some things, and other things we are not so good, right? That you cannot neglect that. How to give it up then? Big question mark. That's explained in Bhagavad Gita. That like a devotee came to Prabhupada in London, and he said, Prabhupada, I want to please you. Ask me anything you want. I will do it for you. And Prabhupada, based on Bhagavad Gita, said that what do you like to do for Krishna? And the devotee said, it doesn't matter, Prabhupada, what I like. Just ask me anything. I just will do it for you. And Prabhupada became more grave. He said, try to understand our philosophy. What do you want to do for Krishna? And then the devotee said, I want to make unbreakable mridangas. Mridanga, you know what a mridanga is? Tambour. Yeah, mridanga. And he said, Prabhupada said, yes, do that for Krishna. And he made these fiberglass mridangas like this. He made thousands of them. So he fulfilled his desire, but he connected his desire with Krishna to please Krishna. It becomes a tandem. That's dovetailing. So that's the process. You have to use your material, psychophysical nature in the service of Krishna.
I want to try to reach.
That's good. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I was, this is more than 30 years ago. I like to drive big cars, and I had a big BMW that, and I was an accountant, but my Guru Maharaj instructed me, you become a chartered accountant. So for this, because I was living in the temple, I'd every day, yeah, twice a week I had to go to Antwerp, which was 300 kilometers further, and back is 600 kilometers one way. I did that to do a proof period in an accountant's office and prepare for exams and so on. So I was just following the instruction of my Guru Maharaj. I like to drive big cars, so I was driving this BMW. I did 3 times a week that thing. That's about 2,000 kilometers a week. And I did it for 18 months. After that, you don't want to drive a car. So I worked it out. And the desire disappeared just by serving Krishna. It's mystical. That since now I've no desire to drive cars anymore. It's all gone. So it's connecting with Krishna. Your desires. It's called dovetailing, and that's the essence of karma yoga. Karma yoga leads to bhakti yoga. That Krishna says, Yat karosi yat asnasi yat yos dadasi yat yat tapasrasi kaunti yat tat mat arpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever work you do it as an offering to me. But that's an art to be learned. Therefore, you need a spiritual master who guides you how to do that. He's expert because he has gone to that process already. He's done that. He knows the pitfalls and how to go about it. Does that help? Okay. Good. Yeah. Chanting is also service for Krishna. Yeah, he accepts that. Yeah. If we do it just to please him. We can dance for Krishna. Yeah. So many things that unlimited service opportunities. Yeah. Well, yeah, get children for Krishna. It's all part. But of course, we cannot do sinful activities for Krishna. That you cannot do. But otherwise, every service of opportunity is there. I think there was another question here. Yeah, that's it.
Practicing.
Yeah.
There is a verse in chapter 6 that talk mostly verse talk but there is a specific verse that just take the plan forms here at the moment take the air and put
Ja, in de andere, hè? Hier en dan de andere. Ja.
It's weird because this verse doesn't talk anything about Krishna, about Vishnu. It's just like a mechanic system. So, here, Krishna is saying that is for sure.
Well, this is Ashtanga yoga. You have also those who are performing this Ashtanga yoga with the knowledge of who Krishna really is. And then it becomes a devotional meditation. Devotional meditation. But it's a too difficult process for this age that it's practically impossible because we don't have the purity to come to that point. And also, it has a selfish character. You are concerned with your own liberation. Krishna doesn't like that much. That's expressed by Prahlad Maharaj. So these yogis in the Himalayas there, they are only concerned with their own liberation and not with others. But I'm concerned with these fools and rascals in this world who are after Maya Sukha, illusory happiness of the body. I'm very concerned with it. And I don't want to go alone to the spiritual world. And this process does not work in Kali Yuga. Maybe for a few, a handful, Prabhupada says, it doesn't work. And with that, this Ashtanga Yoga can bring you to merging with Brahman, but cannot bring you to the spiritual world. So it's not real liberation. Real liberation, the Bhagavatam says, is coming into your constitutional position as a servant of Krishna, eternal life in the spiritual world. And for this you need devotion. So if in the Ashtanga Yoga there is no devotion to Krishna, one does not come to meditate on Krishna in the heart with devotion, then you may merge with Brahman and you feel good there, peaceful, but you are alone and it's boring. Because we want activity. Finally you come back. And that is the point. Good. Thank you very much. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.